Hiking the Edges of the Roman Empire. Welcome to Haku Outside, where we go places where you hike, bike, canoe, ski, or snowshoeing. Green and outside active places. In this video, we will spend a few minutes letting you know about hiking Hadrian's Wall in the United Kingdom, something my spouse and I did in 2021. Below will be links with relevant information. We've always been captivated by the idea of walking Hadrian's Wall. This Roman frontier, testament to both empire and the passage of time, seemed like a perfect blend of history and adventure. So with packs filled with essentials and hearts filled with anticipation, we embarked on a journey from Tynemouth to Browis on Solway, retracing the footsteps of Roman soldiers who once patrolled the ancient barrier and built the wall. Most walking nowadays is from east to west. Walking east to west, you have the wind at your back and you end your journey by a train station where the train runs every 15 to 30 minutes and it ends near a metro area. Newcastle, by the way. During west to east, which we are doing, ends in a small town where buses run only like 4 times a day during the midweek. No buses run on Sundays. So if you need to get somewhere, you have to call a taxi from a nearby town to come pick you up and take you to a different town. Hadrian's Wall is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is one of Britain's most iconic and historic trails. Originally built as a Roman frontier, these ancient structures stretches approximately 85 miles, maybe 140 kilometers across northern England. While hiking is the traditional way to experience the wall, cycling and driving routes are also possible, though these often extend beyond the original wall path to incorporate scenic detours. The wall was constructed between 114 and 120 AD, literally almost 20 centuries ago. Hadrian's Wall served as a formidable barrier between the Roman Empire to the south and the Pictish tribes to the north, which is mostly in what would be called now Scotland. Numerous forts and turrets were built along the wall to house soldiers and defend against attacks. Despite its historical significance, the wall is entirely situated within England, not forming a barrier between England and Scotland, as sometimes people believe. The other part of the wall that's really important, a lot of the wall was built up along the side so that there are cliffs on one side of the wall. They dug it out, they made forts and turrets, they set about making places to sleep and live. On our first day, we began our walk from Tynemouth, a charming seaside town featured in like the British TV series Vera, where most people start at Wallston and eastern terminus of the wall. We began our journey from Tynemouth. The path wound its way through dense woodland, the towering trees creating a canopy that shielded us from the sun. As we ascended, the city fell below us, replaced by landscape of rolling hills and distant moors. The wall itself, a crumbling stone structure, was a constant companion, its presence our reminder of the immense engineering feat that had brought it into existence. Now, one of the walls that we saw was actually the spa area, and the spa area was where the Roman soldiers would come at the end of a workday and literally just sit in a spa, converse, maybe smoke, they did smoke, and relax. As we continued our journey, we passed through a series of Roman forts and mill castles. These mill castles were actually some of the spas, each offering a glimpse into the lives of the soldiers who once garrisoned them. Some of the sites were well preserved, with their walls and towers still standing tall. Others were mere ruins, their stones scattered across the landscape. A lot of times, especially during the 16th and 17th centuries, farmers would get the stones so that so that they can mark off their land to keep their cattle in place. So a lot of stones got moved around during that period of time, and some places the wall had just crumbled or was taken away. But all of them had a sense of history that was both awe-inspiring and humbling at the same time. One of the moments of the walk that we liked, we came across the Homestead Roman Fort. This is one of the best preserved forts on the wall. It offers a fascinating insight into the daily life of Roman soldiers. We wandered through the ruins of the barracks, garrisons, and bathhouses, imagining the bustle of activity that would have once filled the space. As we stood on the ramparts, looking out over the surrounding countryside, we couldn't help but feel a deep connection to the soldiers who once guarded this post. As we walked further west, the landscape began to change. The rolling hills gave way to flatlands, and the wall became increasingly exposed to the elements. We found ourselves feeling a sense of peace and tranquility. There was deeply satisfying about being out in nature, alone with our thoughts and rhythm of our footsteps. Well, we all that alone because we would interact with lots of people that were walking in both directions. People that were walking the same direction that we were in, and people that were walking in like the opposite direction. And then along the way, there was also a number of museum type places that you can come and visit that would explain the wall to you. One of the things, one evening we slept above it as the sunset casting a glow around the landscape. We watched a flock of geese that flew overhead there. There also heard a number of just locals just talking, about it. It was a moment of like pure magic, and we knew that we were doing the right thing and we knew that we were doing the right thing by hiking Hadrian's Wall during COVID times. The following day, we continued our hike westward, just passing through like Carlisle, which was the largest town besides Newcastle that we would go through. As we walked through like the cities, we couldn't help be between the ancient and the modern. The Roman wall, a relic of the past, stood in stark contrast to the bustling city center. After leaving Carlisle, we headed toward what would be called the Scottish lowlands, where we have in farmland. We went through a lot of kissing gates. We actually saw a lot of cattle and sheep and even some horses. The wall continued to follow the curve of the landscape, winding its way through forests and meadows. As we walked, we encountered even like rabbits and a variety of birds, along with as I said, sheep and cows. One of the highlights of the journey was our stop at the Birdsall Roman Fort. This fort is really well preserved, with its walls and towers still standing to a considerable height. We spent a couple hours sort of exploring the site, learning about the lives of the soldiers who once garrisoned it. As we approached the western end of the wall, the landscape became more rugged. The wall followed the coastline, offering stunning views of the Firth, the Solent Firth. We walked along the edge of the cliffs, feeling the wind whipping through our faces and like the spray from the sea you could see from far away. Now, this part of the walk was really interesting because while you could walk along a path, most people that were walking, and this is like the last day or the last day, actually walking on a single lane road where there are a few cars that come by, and so people would scurry off the road, and then once the car would go back, they would go back to the road. But there was actually a walking path on both sides of the road that you could walk on. But as I stated, we walked about half the time on the path and half the time on like the actual road. Finally, we came to the inn, which was Browness on Solway, the western terminus of Hadrian's Wall. As we stood at the edge of the sea, we can look back and see that what the wall was like and the number of days that we hiked. We actually spent 5 nights walking. We felt a mix of emotions. There was a sense of accomplishment of having achieved something that we set out to do. But it's also a sense of sort of sadness as we knew that our journey, this journey, to an end. Walking the wall had been not just a physical challenge, but a spiritual journey as well. It had given us a deeper understanding of the history of England, greater appreciation of the natural world, and just a sense of great people are. This is the time of COVID. We met a bunch of people. We ended up meeting some people who were help raise money for cancer research, and so they had a GoFundMe page, and so we ended up donating to that. We walked into a town. We saw a woman. We began talking to her. We ended up staying at her home in Germany later on. So, and that every that we would meet different people and we would end up talking, and it was a great camaraderie on the trip itself. One of the most unexpected, as I said, was just the opportunity to meet other people, other walkers. We were share stories, we offered advice to each other, and then we encouraged each other along the way. As I reflect on our journey, we realized that Hadrian's Wall was not just a physical barrier, but a symbol of what is the human spirit. It was a testament to the ingenuity and resiliency of Roman soldiers and a reminding of the enduring power of history. Walking the wall was a great experience, one that we will never forget. So if you want to walk the wall, do it. Most people can do it, and most people have a great time. And as we stated, there are plenty of places to stay along the wall. We had less places to stay because of COVID, so some days we ended up walking 2 to 3 miles off the wall to get to the place that we were staying in, and then walking a couple miles back, or the 2 to 3 miles back to the wall to get walking again. But even those negatives really made me feel like this was a great, powerful time for us. This is the Haku Dude for Haku Outside. See you in the future.